Well, hello guys. From this series, I'm gonna be your tutor, and I would be tutoring you on how to work our way through R as a beginner and to reach the advanced level. So, first thing first, as what you're seeing through the screen is a R Studio server. Is how an R Studio looks like. It got three and four components. We can see, let's say, it's a console, and this is environment, this is some packages, plots, and now in this series, we're gonna be talking about from as being a beginner into coding. Let's say creating some variables, making some sophisticated codes, all of this would be covered in throughout this series. The series would be in different parts. There would be various parts which would be talking about some different stuff. Let's say first would be introduction part. Second would be some vectors, matrices, data frames, how to work through creating new variables. Third part would be, let's say, working with data, actually data visualization and exploratory data analysis. So all of these parts will be consisting of some several videos, all not lengthing to not maximum minutes of 15. So we will be learning a lot through these series. So that would be the program and a curriculum structure. Now, so let's say you're a beginner, you don't know what this looks like, so I'll just go through it with you. So this is an R Studio server, and I will come back to that how you can get this fancy setup at your own laptop. So this is our studio server where you can type stuff and you can basically run a code and you can see various things happening. So let's say I go to a file and I create a new file. And now I can see there's our script, our notebook, our markdown, shiny. So I can get so many options to do this. As I'm on our studio server, I'm getting shiny web app and RSwiv, RHTML. But it might not be on your system. Don't worry about it. What we're gonna be learning on is that how to create work with our notebook or our script. So basically, you can go and click on and just make a new script. Let's say make a new notebook, our notebook. Now, as you can see that we got a new component which has been added to our screen. First is the untitled this file, untitled one, and this is a console. This is the packages, files, plots, view, help, and viewer, and this is the environment. And we will just talk about how environment work and what goes in here and what goes in here. Now, as you can see, we can see a lot of stuff. Let's just go through it by deleting it and work our way best. What we can do is we can say A is 10 and B is 20. Now, when I wrote A and B and I'm pointing an arrow, that a 10 is pointing an arrow towards A, which means 10 is now A. So 10 is in A. So we got a variable. So this is called what variable creation. We will go more in depth in the next few classes. But just to see how this console looks like, we're going to go through this. Now, as I put an hashtag in front of this, so these are some coding semantics which we need to learn. Let's say if you want to write something, a heading, or you want to write a note, you can start off with by putting an hashtag. And if so, what an hashtag means is that when a console goes in there and it sees, oh, there's a hashtag, so it won't read that line. So you can write anything here, anything, and it won't write anything. So it won't be giving you an error. But if you didn't write any hashtag here, so it means that code will read this. So you can't really actually type anything. Let's say hello world. So you can't really type like this here. You need to be very cautious about it, that what you're going to write here. Now, when you write this, what you can do is you can either run this, or what I like to do is I select them all and then I go here and then I say run selected lines. When I say, and it also say you can do control plus enter, which means that we wrote this code here, which is A is 10, B is 20. It's not actually a code, but it's a part of a code. So we wrote a code here, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna see control, enter. Now we can see there's some few things happening here. We can see the console is actually make this thing here. So it's more or less equal here. And we can see in environment A is 10 and B is 20, and it's under the values. So we know that A is 10 and B is 20. So any variable, any data frame, any matrix, any vector, any list you create would be here with the values. Let's say you create a list, you create a vector. We'll come back to all those just fancy names I said into the next session. But just now we're going to be looking at this. Let's say I say view A, and I click on this, I select this, and I press Control Enter. So when I do this, what happened is a new window pops up and it says A. A is 1110 and the value is 10. Double is a type of data types. Again, nothing to go worry about it, but yes, there would be a new window which is going to be saying the same stuff which you can see here, and A is equal to 10. This console is also for our outputs. We can see many outputs here, and in here, well, let's go through here. We can see packages, as you can see here. So there are so many packages, and there's help. Let's say you need any help in any of this. Let's say learning R online, which we are doing right now. And in here, viewer, you can see, well, this is not for you guys. It's for Shiny web app. So I don't think so you would be seeing that much here. But here, the plots, there would be many plots. So now, what we can do is, we can go to our studio, and how we can download this first. We can go to the Google, and we can search R Studio. As simple as that. When you search R Studio, you can click on download the R Studio IDE. We want to download the R Studio and not just R, because if you download R, what's going to happen that when the moment you download R, it won't be like this. So it would be only one window, which would be like with this. And for the output, let's say if you want to see this, you see this, there would be next new window popping up. So we don't want that. We want something compact, compatible. So we want this, which has like 4 components, which you can see here. You can create the sizes, you can work with them, you can play around a little bit. So you can do all of this. Now, when you go here in the download the RStudio, we can see that RStudio desktop is free and RStudio server is also free. Right now, I'm working on a server, but you need to download RStudio desktop. You can also download RStudio server. The major difference is that this will take a lot of space on your desktop, but this won't, because it would be working on the Linux server, which is given by the Linux. And as I'm working on Ubuntu, so my Ubuntu server will be saving all the files on server. So there wouldn't be any load on my desktop. But if you want to download this, you can go ahead. And if you want to download this, you can go ahead. Just click on the download. When you click on download, you can see that what's your OS. So you can choose your OS. Mine was Ubuntu 22. Is Ubuntu 22. So you can click on anything, which let's say is your Windows, and if it's your Debian or if it's your Mac OS, you can click on anything and download that. Now, let's say you have downloaded it, you successfully managed it, and you are on this screen, and you are creating your first variable, which is A is 10 and B is 20. So now, what we can also talk about in this session is that we can also customize this whole setup. We can go on tools. We can go on global options. When you go on global options, a new window pop up. And in this new window, there's a lot of stuff. Let's say general, in which means that the default working directory. So when you click on browse, a new window will pop up, which will be your computer's desktop window. And it will say that which files do you want to put on the server, as I'm on server. But if you're on a desktop, this might not be for you. Let's say you go on a code. You can see that you can insert spaces for tab, and you can say auto detect code identification, and you can go on console to see that this is the console. So you can say the different color for error or message output, there would be different messages. And let's say appearance, if you like be like a code, so you can see that how this code will look like if you do this. Let's say you do this, do that. So there's many options you can work with your code. So this will look something like this, the colors. I myself like the default version, so that's why I'm not gonna apply anything here. But you can apply further on. If you like anything, you just choose anything. Because believe me, from the next all the sessions, you're gonna be working on R. So you might wanna be familiar with something. Here, the panel layout. So we know that our source file is here, which is this, where our untitled file is opened. So this is the left top left, and this is the top right, which is environment, which shows us about how the values are created. This is the console, which talks about how the values are going to run. So let's say if I do this in this here, we can see all the lines are run. Let's say there would be one more line in there and you didn't click on it, so it wouldn't run and it wouldn't show up. This shows that what's going to run and what has been running. If it doesn't show, let's say for me, if I go back and I say that C is 30, and I run this chunk by control enter, and I run this chunk control enter, I can see that C hasn't been run because I haven't selected the C. That's why it's not running. So I need to run, and I can't see C here either. The C is 30. When I do C is 30, I can see C30 here. So now it's run, and you can see also that this is here C. Moreover, let's say we want to, in R, there's a working way. As I'm on R Studio server, you can see my directory here, that there are many directories, many files open up here, many of the .r. So this untitled file will always be .r, and if it's a Python file, it's .py. If it's a C++ file, it's something .c. So any R file which has a code in it is not a text file. So this file is not a txt, it's not a csv, it's not an xls, it's a text file. So with this text file, so it's an R file, .r. So we can see there are many .r, and there's so many files which I've opened up here, and I've worked around my way. Now, if you're working on our Studio server, you can create a new folder, and you can say that practice sessions, and get this new folder, and you can see this folder somewhere down there when P is, and there's practice session. So now, when this practice session is here, you can work in this directory rather than working on outside directory. So you are basically narrowing down your files. So if you want to save this untitled file, you can save it in this directory just by clicking on file and clicking on save as. And if you click on save as, you can actually save this file. But however, before we do that, we need to go in packages. And in packages, we can see there are so many packages and what packages are. Now, let's just think about a package is something which contains a stuff. What that was actually means, a package. It contains something. It's like a box. So in this package, there would be a lot of stuff in it. And to amend our coding skills, to upskill our skills on level in R, we need to work with these packages. There's dplyr, there's ggplot2, ggplot1, there's so many files, and all these are packages. We can see that dpplyr is here. We can dpplyr is here. We can also see that ggplot would be here, and it's on click, so I can actually load this file. So in the next session, what we're going to be doing is we're going to learn a little bit about these packages, and obviously in the next session we're going to be working with how to work with the variables. First of all, how to see our output here, then to make a new calculator, which would be a new topic for us. So we would be working with new calculator, how to work with a calculator. As you know, calculator has so many stuff in it. Let's say plus, minus, division, addition, subtraction, all of those mathematical formulas. Let's say logical, which is true or false, or something like just creating a calculator. So we would be creating a calculator in the next class. Apart from that, I do hope that you go in this Google search and you search for R Studio Server, or if you want to download R Studio Server or something like R Studio Desktop, you can. Till then, bye-bye.